Hello everyone, it's Laffy Chaffy. Chapter 1027 of One Piece is out, and we are really getting up there in the numbers, aren't we? 1027, that's kind of crazy to say. But 1027 is titled An Unbelievable Disaster, and we'll soon see what the unbelievable disaster in this chapter is. I was really scared when I was reading it to begin with, wondering what that could possibly be, but it wasn't too bad, so feel free to check out my reaction to 1027 if you missed that. That was fun. Also check me out on Twitch, that's where I do my live reactions for each chapter. I stream 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Friday every week that there's a chapter, and there's no break this week, so this Friday we'll be at it again, so go follow me over there on Twitch if you want to catch me live. We can talk about the chapter live, and also on Twitter for more One Piece anime and gaming content. But with that all out of the way, let's dive into chapter 1027 of One Piece, An Unbelievable Disaster. We get one panel in the beginning of the chapter to kind of wrap up what happened after last chapter where Perospero and Jack were defeated. So we see Nekomamushi there kind of wondering what happened. He's out of Sulong form. He's warning Carrot about possible accidentally going into Sulong form, but they're just kind of, Perospero was laid prone before them and they're like, what happened? What is going on? And we cut over to the moon shining bright over Onigashima. Yamato and Momo are looking up and seeing the clash of Luffy and Kaido. They're still doing the no-touching thing, which is super cool, and so this is the aftermath of them splitting the skies, which, whew! And they're facing off. We unfortunately don't get a lot of their clash back and forth throughout this chapter. We just kind of get little snippets. We mainly focus on Momo and Yamato, as well as later on ZORO versus King. But we do get little panels of Luffy and Kaido, and I'm just eating them up because it's really cool, especially that one after Momo and Yamato leave, and it's like that really cool perspective. That's probably my favorite panel. Let me know what your favorite panel is down below, because that's my favorite panel. That's the answer for mine. But we see, before all that happens, we see that Yamato is pretty injured after keeping Kaido busy, which is a feat in of itself, and she kept him busy for quite a while, so the fact that she's injured and kind of, shaking is to be expected. Like, at least she's tired, because I was starting to wonder just how strong she was, and Jesus, I want her on the crew. She would be so cool to join the crew, but yeah, Luffy asks Yamato to go help Momo because Momo will not be fighting Kaido, thank God, because going head to head with Kaido is probably not a good idea if you can barely fly. But it's really funny, I just can't get enough of Luffy and Momo moments because, Momo moments? That's fun to say. Luffy's like, go help this sniveling snake do whatever he needs to do, because he just can't get a grip. And Momo was like, hey, who are you killing sniveling? I changed, there's a lot of things that I'm going through right now, okay? I changed my body, I changed my form, I'm learning a new devil fruit, like, come on, give me a break. Luffy's like, you need help. Yamato, go help him. And Yamato doesn't complain at all. She blocks an oncoming hit from Kaido as Kaido's trying to get them from running away. And Yamato just looks over at Luffy after Luffy wraps his legs around Kaido's neck to pull him back, which was really funny. And she's just like, you want him all to yourself, don't you? And he's like, yep. So that's Luffy there, smiling and just gonna have a blast fighting Kaido because Luffy's just psychotic like that. But unfortunately, Yamato will not be remaining there on the rooftop with Luffy. It looks like Luffy is for sure going to have a 1v1 with Kaido, because I was still up in the air. I was hoping there would be some more people, but honestly, we did already get that with Roof Piece to begin with, where we got Big Mom and Kaido, and Kid, Law, Killer, Zoro, and Luffy all on the rooftop, so we kind of already had that group fight. I was hoping that there would be more, but unfortunately that's where we are. So Yamato is going off and helping Momo, and it proves it was a good idea because Yamato grew up around Kaido, learning about his moves, observing his devil fruit, and really she ended up knowing a lot about a dragon devil fruit, which just so happens Momo has and needs a lot of help learning. So as Momo is falling off of Onigashima, she starts explaining how the devil fruit works and dragons in general. So she says to start grabbing the sky as if they were handholds and footholds, and so he tests it out, and sure enough he just kind of grasps his claws and clouds, flame clouds, start forming for him to walk on, and Yamato's like, yeah, you're supposed to dash through the sky as a dragon, not fly. So that was really cool that Yamato is actually imparting this knowledge that she's just kind of picked up being around Kaido now to Momo, and coming really in handy because he has no idea what he's doing. It's not like Luffy would have been able to help him with his devil fruit. So Yamato is actually really useful in this position, so I hope that they save Onigashima altogether, because now Momo is going to have to focus his flame clouds to hold up the entirety of Onigashima. Onigashima is shown to be slowly crumbling under the control of Kaido's flame clouds, as Kaido's power is actually weakening. I know, it's eventually, he's only fought 15 people to get to this point for hours and hours and hours on end, but he's eventually actually weakening, so this is a good sign that maybe Luffy actually does have a shot, which, you know, he's gonna win. He's gonna win. It's just a matter of how long he's going to fight Kaido for it, because if Momo is able to get Onigashima under control, and there's no longer the threat of it falling on the Flower Capital, then Luffy, like, all the pressure is off Luffy's shoulders, and he can just focus on Kaido. Which is something that Yamato even was trying to enforce for Momo, because Momo was going to tell Luffy about not defeating Kaido so that Onigashima doesn't drop. But Yamato immediately was like, no, he has enough on his plate as it is. He doesn't also have to worry about the island. That's what we're here to do. We're going to take care of it, and he's just going to do what he does best. So already Yamato is a great crew member. But Yamato is pretty impressed and shocked at even the possibility that Kaido's powers are weakening, as we get a close-up shot of her eye just staring at Onigashima like, it's actually weakening. That's insane. I've probably never seen that since Odin. And in response, Momo, which I missed the first time reading through, Momo headbutts Onigashima. I thought he had gotten hit by a rock, but no, because it's going to be falling and going towards the Flower Capital, Momo tries to fight back against it and headbutts it and tries to push Onigashima the other way. And that's where Yamato says, like, no, you have to use your flame clouds. And it's just really cute. He's like Laboon hitting the red line, just trying to get Onigashima to go back away from the capital. Because he got big for this, like that was the whole purpose. But it wasn't a waste, of course, because his powers are also seemingly enhanced by him growing up. So those flame clouds that he's gonna have to be able to conjure and control are enhanced by him growing up, so he has a pretty good shot at taking over the control of Onigashima. Because what's probably going to happen at this moment, I don't think Momo is stronger than Kaido for his flame clouds, because Kaido's doing a bunch of stuff, so flame clouds are kind of in the back of his mind, just kind of concentrating on them. And Momo, you know, he is very new to this concept of flame clouds and dragon devil fruits still, because he's never actually controlled them. So I was kind of going over this a little bit in my reaction, but Kaido is still higher level flame clouds than Momo right now in strength, because, you know, Kaido's strength is wavering. So eventually, as Luffy is fighting Kaido, I think that strength will go lower and lower and lower until eventually it'll pass the point where Momo is now stronger with the flame clouds, and he can take it from Kaido once Kaido is like really focused on Luffy and can't do anything else because he's losing. That's right, he's losing, he's gonna lose. So we'll just have to wait and see, I guess, for when Momo will actually be able to hold up Onigashima. I don't know if that's going to be straight up next chapter, or if it's going to be a few chapters of struggling and, you know, Kaido holding on to Onigashima. But they specifically mentioned that if Onigashima was just dropped right now, even though it's not right above the Flower Capital, the island is going to explode like an enormous bomb because of all, like, the weapons, but specifically the gunpowder that is stored on Onigashima. It would just blow up. Everyone would be destroyed, including everyone on the Flower Capital. And that's where we wrap up the scene with Momo and Yamato, which dragged on a little bit. There was definitely a lot of dialogue, which maybe kind of lowered my rating of the chapter a little bit, because most of this is stuff we kind of already knew about Momo having the same power as Kaido, but it's not as strong. He's going to use the flame clouds. A lot of this is confirming what we've already figured, so it was kind of dragged out a little bit in my opinion, but soon enough, after they get all that settled and Yamato is focused on helping Momo figure out what to do with Onigashima so it doesn't bother Luffy, so Luffy can focus on what he's doing, we cut down to Zoro versus King. We get a show of King's hybrid form here where his wings are looking really sharp and dangerous and he's using them like swords. So it's pretty fitting that he's fighting against Zoro, but King is just kind of slashing everywhere, indiscriminately sending shockwaves and wind blades and all of these things all around the floor, cutting up beast pirates, almost cutting up Queen, where King's just like, oh darn, God forbid I hit you, wouldn't want that. But Zoro is getting flung around for sure at just the onslaught of attacks, but they go back and forth pretty well. I mean, Zoro is definitely up against a strong opponent here in King, with a bounty of almost 1.4 billion berries. Zoro definitely has his work cut out for him, and we see that King is looking scary. Maybe it's just me, it reminds me a lot about Jurassic Park with the pterodactyls coming down the bridge. If you know, you know. But that one specific scene came into my mind when he was kind of walking through the smoke and everything. It's pretty intimidating. But as they're exchanging blows back and forth, Zoro is actually putting some damage onto King's helmet, and the Beast Pirates are specifically talking about how no one has ever seen King's face. So that is a big plot point of this scene here in their interactions, is that Zoro is cutting off King's mask, little by little. Not on purpose, I assume. It's just kind of in the heat of the battle with swords, you know, things are gonna get cut. One of those was his mask. And so we see a little bit of hair and a little bit of skin, but really there's nothing to go off of. Sure, we could speculate with swirly brows and hair color, but at the end of the day, there's nothing to go on right now. There is one panel when he's first shown that part of his mask is missing. The hair almost looks like fire. It looks really weird, but that just might be kind of like a blur frame of action as he's like kind of trying to dodge out of the way, but it makes his hair look really weird. But when we see his hair later on, it doesn't have that effect on it, so I'm not sure if that was just, like I said, an action shot kind of. But Zoro gets knocked around, he knocks into Frankie, so good to see Frankie. It's cool to see how the layout is where Zoro gets sent flying down a hallway and there's Frankie, because everything kind of connects in that way. We don't see Sanji, unfortunately, in this chapter, although we do see Queen. But Zoro is knocked into a wall, and King continues being furious at the mask possibly falling off. It's apparently a big deal, so whatever's behind the mask is a big deal for his race, or maybe just him as a person, whether it's some scars, maybe it's something like Killer that has like burn marks, something from his tragic past that we might or may not find out about. Or it'll be just something about his race, which, like I was joking before, twirly brows has definitely been a recurring comment of what King's face could possibly look like. So if he has twirly brows, I don't know what to say. We'll find out. We'll find out what the Lunarians look like shortly, I'm sure. Maybe even the next chapter, because there's no break next week, and we did end with Zoro's fight, so maybe we'll get a full chapter of Zoro versus King. The end game is coming for Wano, so these fights need to be wrapped up sooner or later, so maybe we'll get the answer sooner than we think. But as Zoro is flung out of Onigashima and out into the sky, he was gonna just land on the outside, but King pursued him further and actually knocked him even further off of Onigashima, so Zoro was hurtling towards the ground, and he was freaking out, and he saw that as a pretty cheap shot from King, which I do agree with, but King has already stated that if he's gonna use underhanded tactics to win, he's gonna do that, so he's definitely not an honorable swordsman of any sort. So that comparison with Zoro and King is really cool there, where Zoro's like, you know, if you're gonna try and kill me, at least do it reasonably, you know, don't just go for a cheap knockout, you know? To recover from falling off of Onigashima, Zoro actually uses a pretty cool move here, where he's falling, and so he sends kind of a shockwave attack downwards, which then propels him back upwards to get back onto Onigashima, which was really cool. It was called Clear Lance, which I don't think we have seen that attack from Zoro yet, because we see that it is a slashing, an arc slash, for him to then be propelled back upwards. So whatever he did, it was pretty clever, pretty tactical, you know, to get him back on and not falling anymore. It helped him get back to where he needed to be and saved himself from King trying to just get him out of the picture without officially fighting him, which, like I said, really pissed Zoro off. But King is just as pissed, and he's not perturbed at all by what Zoro's saying, because he's like, I don't care, you were about to hit my mask off. Now that is unforgivable. As we, like I said, see little bits of hair, looks like long hair in a ponytail. That's the best that I could, I mean, I don't even know if it's a ponytail. Long hair put back in some way. Maybe it's not even put back. I don't know. There's nothing to go off here, is what I'm saying. But speaking for myself, I honestly didn't think that King's face was going to be a plot point, so it's really interesting that that's being introduced in this chapter, and whether it's going to be based off of his race, because he's seemingly the last one, at least the last one that we know about or have been mentioned, or if it's going to be a personal backstory thing where he has scars maybe, but I'm definitely leaning towards the former, where it's going to be something significant and distinct for the Lunarians. He's gonna have twirly brows. Twirly brows are coming. But like I said, hopefully we get the continuation of their fight next chapter, maybe a full chapter of Zoro versus King, maybe the fight can be wrapped up kind of soon. These are big fights though, so I probably don't see them being wrapped up in a chapter or two. It'll probably be a little bit. We still need Raizo and Fukurokuju, as well as of course Sanji and Queen, and then, you know, the big Big Mom, Law and Kid one that I'll mention every chapter until we get. I just want to know. I just want to know. That wraps it up for the chapter. That was 1027. So if you enjoyed the chapter, if you liked my review, make sure you leave a like and comment below what your favorite part is and what you think King's face is going to look like. But there's no break next week, so maybe we'll get the answers soon. And as for Luffy and Kaido, I feel like we're going to definitely focus on all of the other fights before we get the full fight of Kaido and Luffy, because that's just the standard pattern usually, is we get little glimpses of it as the rest of the fights conclude, and then we focus on the finale, the climax, the grand fight of Luffy defeating the main villain. So that's gonna be Kaido. It's gonna be kind of crazy to see how that goes. But like I said, I don't think we're going to be getting much of Luffy versus Kaido for a few chapters at least, maybe 4 or 5, I don't know, while we wrap up all the other fights. Because I'm assuming we're going to get the Big Mom, whatever happens with her, before we get to Luffy and Kaido as well. That's probably going to be the finishing mark of the raid. So we'll just have to wait for the next chapter. Like I said, there's no break, so we won't have to wait long, and in the meantime, feel free to check me out on Twitch and Twitter. I stream live reactions to the chapter every Friday at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, so go check me out over there, give me a follow, and we can talk about One Piece. And also on Twitter for more One Piece content. Make sure you subscribe as well if you haven't. We're on our way to 1,000. In the meantime, though, have a great day, follow your dreams, and check me next time. Bye!